All right, so my name is Gandhi, so I'm also from San Diego area, so given the time, I was just quickly jump into the topic. So as you can see, both Gaba and Bazan have talked about the 5G and what's the trend in 5G. Mostly you can see that 5G is mostly about cellular terms, right? People are talking about the different standards for cell phones all the way from 2G to 5G. But now, I'm going to talk about more about IoT, which is non-cellular focused. So, which might be of interest to people who are working on sensing, all kinds of different new technologies for communication. All right, so that's my major topic today. But since I'm not really in academic anymore, so I'm mostly focusing on the industrial trend, some new things in the industry, not necessarily the best, most complex research topic, but hopefully it'll help you to really jumpstart your research anyway. All right, so I have an introduction and a case study on particular new technology, and then also talk about my view of industrial trends. All right, Internet of Things. So everybody has different view of Internet of Things. So it could be for including LTE, cellular, all the towers, covering all the small things. But so far, people are mostly talking about IoT, smart devices, right? Communication, connectivity for smart devices. What about the things that are not smart enough? What about the devices who don't even have a user interface? They don't even have a mouse, a screen, door switch, like the light bulb, like the camera or some simple stuff. And they all need to be connected in the future. So in my view of 5G, it's not just about the cell phone has more and more speed, bandwidth, and we can talk about video, all this stuff, but they're also about connectivity to the dumb little devices. So basically, so far we have the connectivity to all the human beings, all right? So now next step is we want to connect everything. If the things are not smart enough, the things people usually don't even interact with, but they're all going to be connected to the internet. So that's my view of the future for 5G or even further. All right, so I don't even talk about too much of the cellular, because I guess you guys already heard too much about that. So, but I'm going to talk about the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and UNZP. All right, so those are really smaller and low power, and let's see how those go for 5G and even further. All right, so why do people talk about the IoT? IoT is not really, it's basically just extension of cellular sensor networks and all the connectivities other than cellular. But why do they start to pick up and gaining momentum just recently? But as you can see that, it's mostly because of the market itself. So I was studying sensor networks more than 10 years ago when I was back in school. But at that time, people don't really know exactly how are we going to use it. And when we were studying mesh network, ad hoc network, we didn't really have a concrete idea of what the market is, where the money goes. But when I have been working in the industry for years, I noticed that maybe now it's a good time for people to start really rushing into this. The reason is the market is already rising. The market is rising fast and quick. And all the market providers, the vendors, all the big ISPs, all the carriers, they're providing IoT like crazy. Even though themselves may not even know exactly what they're going to be providing, but it's coming. It's already there. So that's why I'm saying that's a good time for you guys to do more research, to bring up more new ideas, to help to drive this new way of 5G or whatever you call it. All right? So you can see the market is there. Smart homes, smart buildings, smart city, and medical devices like healthcare, all kinds of crazy things like interconnection of drones, vehicles. These are all happening. These are not just dreams anymore, even virtual reality. These are all happening. But how to make all these things connected smoothly? How can they all communicate smoothly among themselves or talk to the cloud, talk to the smart people also? So those are the driver for us to really study IoT and how to make this happen. So there are all kinds of different crazy virtual markets. I'm just highlighting a few of them that I have been touching in the past 10 years. But of course, it's sky's the limit and it's already there. So basically, you guys should really drive this further. All right, so that's the market and it's already happening. And how do people actually make this happen? I'm just putting up this big picture here regarding all the current connectivity standard for IoT. So cellular is a big part. I cut that out, not because that's not important, just because I don't really have the time to talk about that. But other than that, what's your impression? It's probably already too much, right? So there's so many standards for IoT, and people are probably still adding more to this. I'm just picking the popular ones. ZigBee has been there for over a decade. They have been evolving from ZigBee specific mesh network all the way up to ZigBee IP and ZigBee 3.0. And Bluetooth has been there for over 2 decades. They have been talking about the headset communication through Bluetooth. That's probably one of the major use, like 10 years ago. But now people are talking about Bluetooth low energy. So why do Bluetooth intentionally lower their rate just for low energy and IoT? There is a reason, because there's a market. But as you can see, like, people are like coming up with all kinds of different standards just for IoT. IoT is not really just about high speed, high bandwidth. It's about, like, to some extent, lower rate, lower bandwidth. Because for the dumb things, they don't need the smart speed. They don't need that much attention. They just need the low cost, low power communication going on. So that's something completely different from what we previously were doing for 5G or 4G. So people were chasing for the speed, but now we are chasing for something else, for things, all right? So my major takeaway out of this picture is, like, the market is still fragmented. Somebody has to unify this, and somebody has to find a good way of, like, using all this. Because none of this probably will be winning them all, but none of them probably will be leaving soon either. So how to leverage the current situation and make good use of it. That's some challenge I'm facing myself and probably also someday here. All right, so given that a high-level introduction, I'm just jumping into a particular use case. So this is when I worked at Qualcomm Research a few years back. So my motivation was this. That was like 5 years ago when the iPhone 4 was first in the market. And actually, you guys know about all the iPhone fancy stuff, but there's one thing specific for iPhone 4 5 years ago was, like, they have a Bluetooth chip, Bluetooth low energy chip, Bluetooth 4.0 coming to the phone. That's the first time. So people are talking about all the, like, high speed IoT, right? And Wi-Fi, they have AX, all this stuff. But why do they add a Bluetooth low energy into the phone? Because they want to go to the IoT market. They want to go touch all the small sensor devices. They want to communicate not just among people. They want to talk, like, let the phone talk to all the smart devices, all the small tags, even RFID, all around the world. So that's why they have that. But the problem is this: Bluetooth traditionally is just one-to-one communication. It's not about, like, going beyond one hop. But in order to compete in the sensor network, everybody knows here, right? Everybody here knows that sensor is about, like, networking, connectivity, extend your range, not by yourself, by your neighbors, all right? So that's something missing for Bluetooth low energy. All right, that's my motivation. Basically, my motivation is, like, to add a middle layer, which is orange blocks in the middle of this, so that it's kind of like mesh routing, at layer 2.5. It's above the link layer, but it's below the traditional network layer. So it helps to really connect up all the Bluetooth Low Energy operated devices, be either like smartphone or sensor themselves. So once we can get all of them meshed up together, we can do a lot of crazy things. So this is a kind of big picture showing why we want to do that. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that it could be all the sensors communicating through Bluetooth Low Energy, just like the traditional ZigBee of doing sensor networks. But the good thing about Bluetooth Low Energy is that it's not just specifically designed for sensor networks. They are also having a big consumer market. They're already in people's pockets. They're already going along with smart devices also. So as you can see, IoT itself is not purely a sensor network. It's not purely a cellular network. It's a combination of all kinds of different radio technologies. All right. So Bluetooth will be just part of that in my particular use case. So they enable communication among small sensor devices at low power, low battery drainage. But on the other hand, they are also helping to enable some, for example, just like device discovery, some sensor data discovery at the background. You are using a cell phone, you may not even know them, but you're actually communicating with your neighbors through Bluetooth Low Energy to exchange a small amount of data. But in case that you're doing more than that, you can still leverage all the existing Wi-Fi or even cellular to talk to transfer big data, multimedia data, or even talk to your cloud service. So it will be a combination. In IoT use cases, will be merged into your existing use cases. And it will just enhance your use case, it will just add more to it. It probably won't just come along by itself. So that's my personal view. It will help the existing infrastructure. Yeah, all right. So with that, I'll jump into the last few slides on my view, my concern about IoT for the near future. So this is actually, I'm collecting some data from the recent survey from the IoT experts. They are mostly developers. They are realizing the IoT in the market in the past 3 years. So the 3 bars represent the 3 years, 2015, 16, and 17. So what are the top concerns? It's pretty clear here. You can see that the security, it has been there, it's always there, it's very consistent in the past few years. It's almost like 50% of people are worrying about security for IoT. All right, the second is interoperability. It seems like it's getting down a little bit, but connectivity is another consistent one. Very consistent concern that people are talking about. All right, and last but not the least, but the implementation is very important. There are always some implementation issues for IoT and the new market. All right, the next slide, I will just focus on connectivity. And other than cellular, again, so TCP, basically internet, IP protocols will be there. Will always be there for IoT. That's dominant protocol. But in terms of radios, Bluetooth is really picking up, and Wi-Fi is very consistent, still the number one. And cellular is also growing. And in terms of protocol, 6LoWPAN for sensors, that's kind of being standardized and stabilized. And also some long-range special protocols like LoRa, they are also picking up a little bit. But like Google Thread or something else, they're still new. People are still arguing, should this be the next mainstream or not? So they're still low, so I don't know. This is just to take some recent data. All right, so this is my last slide. Basically, I'm trying to say that wireless, everybody here is studying wireless. Wireless is the key and still be the key for 5G or even further, for IoT or something else also. But it's not just about the physical layer, it's not just about the radio waves. It's about how are we gonna make use of the the service to make more real applications for the customers. And the last thing I want to talk about is like the data. So everybody has the data, everybody knows the big data is a big part for Google, for people like that, but I'm talking about the data directly coming from the things. The dumb data from the dumb things, they seems like useless, but there will be a humongous of data out of the things. How are we going to make sense of the data? How are we going to manipulate the data and analyze the data in the cloud? That's another big topic, I would say. Like it should involve a lot of research and a lot of like business opportunities there. All right, with that, that's my talk.